Come ride with me.
It's the rider's option and prerogative to leave the ring or not when the bell is rung. She's decided to. She gets a nice straight entry. Please realize that what you see from an angle or from the side is not necessarily what the judge is seeing, but from my point of view, it was a fairly straight entry. The halt was motionless. The move off was fairly prompt. And all things considered stayed on the bit, so I felt that that was a good score, 8.0. Starting into the lengthening, it's very hard to see from this angle, but the horse does show some length of stride and balance coming back. It's fairly good, 7.0. We're coming up on the shoulder in. Although the position was correct, I really felt the horse could be carrying more weight over his hindquarters and therefore be more engaged, but it was correct as far as positioning, so 7.0. And here you'll be able to see the lengthening a little better from this side. The frame does lengthen. Not a whole lot of speeding up in the tempo. So it's fairly good, 7.0. And here there's just a little bit of a tip of the head, a little bit fussy in the bridle. So we take it down a little bit to a 6.5. In the canter part and in the circle, you'll notice the horse is a little bit lowered in the pole and behind the vertical. 6.5, it's not even fairly good, and this is something you don't want to see continue. This is a shallow serpentine of 3 loops. It's very hard to be accurate with it because you have to know where the quarter lines are, and she rides it pretty well. Maybe just a little bulging out at the very end, so 7.5. A simple change of lead is canter to walk to canter. She stays straight, she keeps it clear, and that's a 9.0. And again, she immediately comes down from the lope to the walk and an 8.0. We're coming up for a half turn on the hunches. She does it as a pivot, maintains the bend, walks forward quietly out of it, 8.0. And the camera lost this one a little bit, but I felt like it needed more control from the inside leg and the outside rein, so dropped it to a 6.5. This is a clear, free walk. It could use a little bit more stretch to it, 7.0. The transitions here are prompt, could have a little bit more energy coming into the jog, 7.0. Again, we see on the lope, the horse is a little bit behind the vertical with the head nodding, 6.5. And in the serpentine, it's still not quite steady in the connection. The pole drops a little bit, there's a little bit of shortening through the neck, 6.0. And here's our walk transition. And back up to the lope, 9.0. She does these very well. We hardly ever see it done this well. A turn onto the center line is a little bit behind the vertical, but the essence of this movement is the transition at X, and it is straight, right into the jog. So 7.0. And the final halt was not straight in the transition or balanced behind 6.5. The gaits of this horse are rather elastic and forward, 7.5. In the impulsion, 7.0. The lengthenings could improve a little bit more power. I felt that this rider had very good design with her seat, so 8.0 for her position. For the correctness and active use of her aids, 7.5. I really love the simple changes, but I had to mark it down just a little bit because she let the horse get behind the vertical in the lope. And again, for the harmony, but being behind the vertical in the lope is an issue, so 6.
Come ride with me. It's time to saddle up the right away. There's so much to see. Don't worry, I know the trails, I know the way.